Um, so we continue reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 1, text 57. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, Chintamanir Jayati Soma Girir Gurur Me Shikshas Guruscha Bhagavan Siki Pincha Maulihi Yat Pada Kalpataru Pallava Shekhareshu Leela Swayamvara Rasam Labate Jaya Shrihi. All glories to Chintamani, my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to Chintamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears peacock feathers in his crown. Under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like desire trees, Jai Shri Radharani enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal consort. Okay, this verse is from Krishna Karnamrita, which was written by a great Vaishnav sannyasi named Bilva Mangal Thakur, who is also known as Leela Shuka. He intensely desired to enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord, and he lived at Vrindavan for 700 years in the vicinity of Brahma Kund, a still existing bathing tank in Vrindavan. The history of Bilva Mangal Thakur is given in a book called Sri Vallabha Digvijaya. He appeared in the 8th century of the Shaka era in the province of Dravida and was the chief disciple of Vishnu Swami. In a list of temples and monasteries kept in Shankaracharya's monastery in Dwarka, Bilva Mangal is mentioned as the founder of the Dwarkadish temple there. He entrusted the service of his deity to Hari Brahmachari, a disciple of Vallabha Bhatta. So this verse that is mentioned here by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, this verse is from Krishna Karna Amrit. Krishna Karna Amrit is written by Bilva Mangal Thakur. He was a great Vaishnava. He was such a great Vaishnava that he was having the personal association of Krishna. So a little bit of his life, I think, is written there. Let's see. And it says that he was here. He appeared in the 8th century, and he's mentioned in Shankaracharya's monastery in Dwarka. He's mentioned there as the founder of the Dwarkadish temple. And his guru was Vishnu Swami. So Bilva Mangal Thakur actually entered into the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. He has recorded his transcendental experiences and appreciation in the book known as Krishna Karnamrit. In the beginning of that book, he has offered his obeisances to his different gurus, and it is to be noted that he has adored them all equally. The first spiritual master mentioned is Chintamani, who was one of his instructing spiritual masters because she first showed him the spiritual path. Chintamani was a prostitute with whom Bilva Mangal was intimate earlier in his life. She gave him the inspiration to begin on the path of devotional service. And because she convinced him to give up material existence to try for perfection by loving Krishna, he has first offered his respects to her. So Bilva Mangal Thakur, he was so attached to Chintamani, he used to visit her every day. She used to live across the river. And so every day he used to cross the river by the boat and come and meet her. So one night, what happened was his father passed away. So after performing the rites, then he still wanted to go and meet her. And that night was really a rainy night. There was no boat. So what he thought was some plank, he took the support of that and he crossed the river. And then somehow or the other, he reached up to Chintamani, to her to where she was staying. And then she was like, why have you come here today? Your father passed away and you've still come. It was rainy night. There's no boatmen out there. There are no boats. And how did you climb up? And, what are you doing? Why are you so attached to me? If you give the same attachment to Krishna, if you try to find Krishna with as much eagerness, you will find Krishna. Why are you wasting your eagerness on me? And it struck him. It struck him that, oh, I'm like crazy after this Chintamani. I've come here in such a situation. And if the same desire I can transfer to Krishna, then yes, then my life will be successful. And he left immediately. And he was eagerly, then of course, along the way, he was on his way to Vrindavan. He reached a village where he saw a woman and he had lusty desire for the woman. And then because of that lusty desire, he pricked his eyes. He said, I don't want these eyes. Because of these eyes, I have so much lust. He pricked his eyes. He became blind. But he was, his eagerness for Krishna was increasing more and more, that even though he was blind, he was able to see Krishna. Krishna would come, take him by his hand, give him milk to drink, take him by his hand, and the pastimes. So this was a great, great devotee, Bilva Mangal Thakur. We cannot imitate such devotees. These are for us to appreciate. We cannot take our eyes because we say, oh, wherever I'm looking, I find it increases lust in my heart. So we are not at that stage to do that. But that was Bilva Mangal Thakur. And then he wrote Krishna Karnamrita. So when he's saying that he's seeing Krishna, he is seeing Krishna in front of him. That Krishna is wearing a peacock feather. And then, Radharani is there with him always as his eternal consort. So this is the subject matter, the relationship between Krishna and his pure devotee. So that's why he first offers respect to Chintamani, because she was the one to say, don't waste your time with me, go search for Krishna. Next, he offers his respects to his initiating spiritual master, Somagari, and then to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was also his instructing spiritual master. He explicitly mentions Bhagwan, who has peacock feathers on his crown, because the Lord of Vrindavan, Krishna, the cowherd boy, used to come to Bilva Mangal to talk with him and supply him with milk. In his adoration of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, he states that Jayashri, the goddess of fortune, Srimati Radharani, takes shelter in the shade of his lotus feet to enjoy the transcendental ras of nuptial love. The complete treatise, Krishna Karnamrita, is dedicated to the transcendental pastimes of Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. It is a book to be read and understood by the most elevated devotees of Sri Krishna. So Bilva Mangal Thakur, although he was materially blind, he couldn't see, but Krishna was coming to him, and Bilva Mangal Thakur was able to see Krishna with his transcendental eyes. And he was having a relationship with Krishna. Krishna would speak to him. Krishna would give him milk. And yeah, so that's the and his book Krishna Karnamrita is a famous book which is read only by the very advanced devotees, because it's all about the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So it's a subject matter for very, very advanced devotees. So shall we stop here for today?
Okay.
Any comments?
This is so beautiful.
Bilva Mangal Thakur, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of his, I remember I used to have, I was listening to it some Kartik ago, I'll send it to you. These verses written by Bilva Mangal Thakur, some of them, you know, they're really beautiful also.
Wow.
So let me try to look for them.
I think these are big true devotees, even if we are talking about them, that gives us a little purity in our heart and we can feel it.
Yes, yes, because we are associating with them through transcendental sound vibration. No? They are spiritual, so we are associating with them by speaking about them, hearing about them, and just by speaking about them, appreciating them, we get purified. We are associating with them, so whatever we associate with, we get that quality. You know. So,
and this is so powerful that even they're not here, but even their sound, just reading about them, that is like Krishna has made it so easy that even if you read, you are associating.
yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
And if we don't try, then that's our karma. We can't do anything.
Yeah, that's our misfortune.
Yeah, misfortune, right? That's our misfortune.
Because we each have a choice. That doesn't matter our karma. Because
Oh yeah, sorry, misfortune, not karma.
Devotional life has no restrictions. No amount of material impediment can stop somebody from engaging in devotional service. Nothing material can stop, because it's spiritual on a different plane altogether. And yes, that's why we are encouraged to hear about the pure devotees, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, appreciate them, pray to them. You know, it's always purifying to hear.
I think I just want to share that when I just started listening to Amrendra Prabhu, maybe 4 years back, or maybe, I don't remember exactly, maybe 3. And he used to narrate a lot about Haridas, all the Goswamis, the Acharyas, Haridas Thakur. I used to hear it, but it doesn't used to relate because I didn't know about it. I was not in the paramparas. I was not even knowing the lineage of parampara or anything. But now when I'm understanding things and when I'm reading more with you, listening more, now I can relate that, oh, this is that story, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how Haridas Thakur was getting ribbed in the bazaar, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took on him. I just heard it, but who is Haridas Thakur? I don't know. But that means that just listening about them gave me maybe some fortune to know Krishna better.
Yes.
So that's such a big thing that we don't have to have knowledge. I don't need to know anybody that, but still they are so purifying.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that is what got me a little on the lotus feet. I think their mercy got me here. Otherwise, no.
That's so right. Because, for example, we are hearing from Bhagavad Gita also every day. Yeah. Even though we don't understand, we just try to hear attentively. Then the purification process happens. Even though we don't understand. We should just hear submissively. And then one day, as you are saying, no, you heard it before and you didn't know what was what, but now you're able to relate. This one is this one is this. That's very good. So continue doing that. Continue hearing, associating with the devotees.
And there was also one more thing. It is not in the context, but I was thinking from last few days that we all are longing to see our parents. We are stuck here, and how badly we desire to see our parents, or or if our children are far away, we are desiring to see them so badly we miss them. So then, how about Krishna? Doesn't he miss us? Doesn't he want us to go back to him? We forget that.
Yeah, so nice. Very good reflection. Very good realization. Very good. And try to remember it. It's true. Krishna is missing us. He's waiting for us to go back. Very nice. Very nice. And that's the reason that Gopakumar, I don't know if you remember, a few days ago we mentioned that Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Gopakumar actually reaches Vrindavan, Krishna embraces and puts his hand around his neck and he has tears rolling his eyes. Ecstasy. He said, I missed you, where I was waiting for you. So long years I've been waiting for you. And in the ecstasy, in the happiness that Gopakumar came back, Krishna became unconscious. So he's eagerly waiting for each and every one of us. When will you come back to me, Neha? Like that, he's saying. You know? Yes.
Is the Gopakumar the same one that we used to tell that he was the son of a Brahmana? He was born out of cow?
No, this Gopakumar is from
Different. That was Gokarna. Sorry, that was Gokarna. He was born out of the cow. The Brahman's wife gave it to the cow and the fruit, and she ate it, and that is different, I think. Yeah.
This Gopakumar story is in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Brihad Bhagavatamrita is written by Sanatan Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And it's like a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So we'll stop here for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your realization.
Yeah, I was having from last few days. I thought that I'll say.
Yes, very nice realization. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.